In this video, we will address the hymn project, your third project this semester. So go ahead and open up Finale and use the setup wizard. So in my hymn project here, I'm going to go ahead and hit next for engraved style. I'm going to have a grand staff, a blank staff, grand staff, hit add. I'm going to hit next. My title is Know This, comma, that every soul is free. I'm going to go ahead and hit some spaces here. I can fine tune it later and put in the hymn number. I have no subtitle. My composer, arranger, and lyricist and all that information is at the bottom. And I'll put this in later with a text box. So I'm going to go ahead and leave those all blank. I'm going to take out the copyright symbol and I'm going to hit next. My key signature, time signature, are right here. My time signature is 3-2, which is not one of the traditional time signatures listed. So I'm going to have to click on the question mark over question mark. Slide this down to where it's 3. Slide this down to where it is 2. Hit OK. My initial tempo marking is earnestly. It gives me the half note equals 60 to 76, but in this box it only allows you to put in one tempo marking. So I'm going to put in the slower tempo marking and add the faster tempo marking after the setup wizard's finished. I don't have a pickup measure, so I'm going to leave that blank, but you may. And I have 9 measures for my hymn because it goes so slow with the time signature. So I'm going to hit finish, and it builds my score here. I'm going to select subtitle, delete it, composer, delete it, arranger, delete it. I didn't do too bad on the spacing. We can fix that a little bit. Earnestly, I'm going to control click that and edit the text expression definition. Here I can come in and put the hyphen 76. I'm going to uncheck this box so that I can select earnestly and italicize it and hit OK. Alright, as I look at my score here, I have 3 measures on the first line, so I'm going to hit my down arrow button after selecting the 4th measure. I have 2.5 on the next line, so I'm going to go to the 4th measure, hit my down arrow button, and we'll end up having to split this measure. We'll show you how to do that in a little bit. Alright, so we're shaping up alright here. As you'll notice in Finale by default it indents the first system. I don't have that here. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to select the page layout tool, and you'll notice it gives me this handle. I can click, hold, and drag and line that up with the other staves I should say. Now I'm all lined up. Another thing you'll notice is that there's no brace, so we need to get rid of that brace. To do that, I select the staff tool and I can click this handle, hit delete, and it deletes those staff braces. Alright, so we're going to focus a lot more on page layout. I totally missed where I was supposed to enter my key signature on the setup wizard, so I'll go ahead and change my key now. I'm using the key signature tool. Put ourselves in G major here. There we go. Alright, so now I need to put in some notes. Alright, so I'm going to put in these notes real quick. I'm going to show you how easy it is to put them in. I've got my MIDI keyboard hooked up. Look at that, I did have a pickup measure, I didn't know it. I'll fix that. Should have been a 6. All right, my right hand's in, now I gotta go put my left hand in. Again, I'll fix that measure in a minute. So you're getting a little tricky. They're so far I have to use 2 hands because they're originally written for the organ. Now I run into a problem and I have to use layers to fix this problem. So I'm going to actually put in the bass line in layer 1. And I'll show you how to fix that in a minute. Okay, all my notes are in. Okay, I'm going to try to fix this problem with the whole pickup measure here. I failed to see that I had a pickup measure, so I'm going to come in here to simple entry, delete the rest, then on the front end I'm going to put 3 notes in, turn them all into rests. I'm going to do the same in the bass class real quick. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to my menus here, document, and I'm going to go to pickup measure. So this is a good thing that I made this mistake so you can see how to make a pickup measure after the fact. Alright, and then I need to figure out how much of a pickup measure do I have. I have a dotted half note. So I'm going to hit OK, and there's my pickup measure. Now I also have to go fix my last measure. So if I go to the plugins, measures, split measure, I can split the measure after 2. Nope, I need that to be after 1.5 beats. And it'll kick everything down to a new measure. Then with my selection tool, I'm going to hit shift down arrow to select the whole measure. I'm going to delete that measure. Back in the measure tool, I'm going to double click and I'm going to get a solid bar line. Finish that up. So now the ending measure and the pickup measure make a complete measure in length. All right, that's taken care of. Now let's look at this layers issue we have. And we have this issue a couple places. Place number 1 is measure 5 in the tenor line. We have a double stem note. So I'm going to come in here to layer 2. And I'm going to take a quarter note. No, I'm not. I'm going to take a dotted half note, and I'm going to turn that into a rest. Then I'm going to take a quarter note, turn that into a rest, and then I'm going to put in a G, and then I'm going to put in another quarter note, turn that into a rest. I'm going to hit H to hide that rest. I'm going to hit left, left, H to hide that rest, left, H to hide that rest. I'm going to hit right again, and I'm going to go to simple edit commands, modify entry. I'm going to flip my stem, and then I'm back in layer 1. Oops. I don't want to do that. Oops. I can't get this to be on the right note. I'm going to flip my stem again. I wasn't paying attention to what my shortcut was. L. I'm going to hit L and flip my stem there as well. So now I have that double stem. That happens again on this note right here. So I'm going to go to layer 2. But as you can see, I go to place it on that D, and Finale puts it on beat 1. That's because Finale is a place. What am I trying to say? That is because Finale keeps track of beats. So I can't just put something on beat 4 or beat 6 or beat 5 or in this case beat 3. So it's a placekeeping program. So I need to go ahead and put in a half note, turn it into a rest. I'm going to hit H to hide it. I'm going to put in another half note, turn it into a rest, hit H to hide it. Now I can put in my quarter note. I'm going to flip my stem. I have to put another quarter note, rest, and hide it. Got to go back into layer 1. Hit my left arrow there, hit L twice. Sometimes it makes me hit it twice. And I've now flipped my stem. Okay, we need to split this measure so that it looks like this measure. So again, I'm going to go to select the measure with the selection tool, plugins, measures, split measure. I want to split the measure after 2 beats. No, I don't. Do I? Yes, I do. And then it kicks the second half of my measure into the next system, which is exactly how I wanted it. Okay, I only have one. Oh, it looks like I have a couple more issues with layers. Okay, I have to fix this mess in measure 8. And really what I should have done in layer 1 is put in the E, so I get the stems going the right way. I'm going to flip this stem down, so I'm going to hit L, flip this stem down, and then I got to go into layer 2 here. I have to put in a half note, turn it into a rest, and hide it. Then I'm going to put in a D, I'm going to flip my stem, and then I need to put in another half note, turn it into a rest, hide it, and my layout looks exactly like that. Except in layer 1, I need to flip stems. Flip stems. There we go. Another issue I have is in the treble clef. In layer 1, I need to have an A, so I'm going to delete the G, and I'm going to leave everything else the same. Then I have to go to layer 2. I have to put in a half note, rest, hide it, half note, rest, hide it, and I have to put in a quarter note on that G with the stem down. Then I have to put in a quarter note, rest, hide it, and that way I look exactly like my original score. So that was a quick lesson on stems and layers. I have an issue back here in layer 1. My stems are pointing the wrong way. So I'm going to flip those stems. And here I need to flip those stems. So L is my shortcut key to flip stems. Okay, another issue I have is right here in layer 1. I have an A flat. It needs to be a G sharp. So I'm going to hit my backslash button to toggle that between A flat and G sharp. I think other than that, it looks pretty good. Now on to the fun of lyrics and text boxes. You can always go to the Tools menu and select Lyrics. The Lyrics tool is this feather quill and an inkwell. And there's a couple ways of doing this. I can type in my lyrics one word at a time. Oops, what did I do? Click in the box. No, this. Now, when I have a word that's hyphenated, I need to put in the hyphen. It doesn't take very long. If there's 2 hyphens, put in 2 hyphens. Okay, there's my first verse. You'll notice that I have a verse here and a number there. Okay, so I'm going to go into click assignment, and what that does, it's represented here with the arrow button. That allows me to click where I want my word to go. Oops. Make sure your arrow is pointing to the correct note. You want it pointing up in most cases. And I just click my heart out here. All right, there's verse 1. So for verse 2, I need to click my up arrow. Now, a quicker way to enter hymn text is to find it already on the internet. So if you want, it might take you just as long to find it as it will to type it. So if you want, you could search the text and cut and paste it into this box. Alright, so in this case, I only have 4 verses of lyrics. I found it on the wiki source. I'm going to copy and paste verse 2. I'm going to go back over into Finale. I'm going to paste all my lyrics. But what I do need to do if I do this is I do need to go back in and put in my hyphens. So there's a hyphen. So go back into the type into score, put in your hyphens. Okay, I got all my lyrics in, then I can go right back into click into score. Make sure we're pointing up. And click away. I did something wrong. I missed a hyphen. There we go. Okay, so I missed a hyphen, and notice what's highlighted is hill. So if I click on this note, it'll mess me up. So I need to click highlight where I'm at. That way I won't get off. All right. Finishing up here, verse 2. I'm going to go ahead and put in 3 and 4. And I'll join you back there when I'm done. Okay, so I put in my third verse, and as you can see, things are getting tight, and I'm running into my note heads. So I want to show you how you can lengthen your staff. And I think Grant asked this question the other day, but I want to make sure everybody sees the answer of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my staff tool here, and you'll notice it gives me these handles. What I can do is I can click, hold, and drag this handle. I can spread it out to give me some more room. The other thing to do is to click to the left of a staff. It will highlight all 3 staves, and I can click and drag, and it will give me the same spacing for my whole score. So that's a pretty good one to know about. That's just the staff tool. Alright, let me enter my 4th verse. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I've entered all my text. I've entered all my lyrics. But as soon as I say that, I noticed that I forgot my hymn verse numbers. So I'm going to edit here. And what I'm going to do here to fix this problem is I'm going to go to type into score and use type into score how type into score is supposed to be used. And then I'm going to come to my lyrics box, hit number 3, double click, hit my left arrow, hit 3 period space. Now I'm going to come to my lyrics box, hit the down arrow, so I'm in verse 2, highlight the first word, left arrow button, 2 period space, and then the same for the first verse. Left arrow, 1 space period. That way I get all my lyrics in. I'm not thrilled with the way that looks, but that might be the best I can do for now. I also don't like that my font by default is Finale Lyrics 12 plain. So I highlight all those fonts and I go to text font, and I can change that to Times New Roman. I did that for the first and the fourth verse, but I'm going to do it now for the last verse. I hit U rather than going all the way down to T. Alright. Next, I noticed I have a slur in layer 1, which I didn't put in. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Just a reminder, by default in Finale, if you double click on a note head and let go, it will put the slur in from one note to the next note. By default, it will create a 2-note slur, so I took care of that. Now I'm also noticing that I have some notes that have the stem wrong, the stem flipped still. So I need to flip some of those. The first is a dotted half note right here. So to flip my stem, I'm going to hit L. And sometimes it takes hitting the key twice to flip those stems. Alright, I think that's it for those. Okay, this comes up quite a bit. I have a parenthetical natural sign, often called a courtesy accidental, which is kind of ironic because a lot of times they cause more trouble and heartache than they need to. They're more of a nuisance than a courtesy. So if I hit P once, it'll give me a parenthetical natural sign. If I hit P a second time, it will give me that parenthetical natural sign without the parentheses. Alright, so that's now done. But in the process of doing that, it added an extra measure. So I'm going to click in that measure, hit Shift down to select the whole measure and delete that measure. We are getting near the end here. A couple more things that we have to do. We have some text boxes we need to create. Just going to hit the text tool, which is this big T. I'm going to write in text. And just do exactly as is written in the bottom of my hem here. Now you'll notice that I have a copyright symbol. How do I put in a copyright symbol? That's a great question. I come up here to text. I come down to inserts. And there's the copyright symbol. Alright, I also need to italicize the word text. And I do that by highlighting the text, going to style, going to italic. Do the same for music here. Style, italics. Oops, that did not do what I thought it was doing. Okay, so that text box is taken care of. Put in the reference here. And then each text box has a handle, so I can fine tune that and line it up with the other text box. Okay, there's two more things I'd like to talk about. The first is we have an introduction bracket, and then this is actually a two-part. Some of yours will have two-part introduction brackets, some will only have one. That is a shape that we need to create So to create that, we are going to use articulation tool. You're going to double click, and it's going to pop up the articulation selection box. You will scroll through here and you'll find that there isn't the mark that you need. So we're going to go to create. So we're going to click on create. We want to create a shape and a flip shape. We're going to click on main, and then we're going to hit create again. This will put us in the shape designing tool. We want to select the line tool, and just like in paint, we're going to click, hold, and drag two lines to make that opening bracket. Then I'm going to duplicate this shape, and I'm going to edit this shape, and I don't think it'll let me flip it. So I can click on this line though and drag it to the left to make my backwards repeat sign. It's pretty close. We'll take it. So there's my main shape, and there's my flipped shape. I'm hit OK. It might not count that flip shape, so I can duplicate it. There it is. Okay. So here's my first one. I'm going to click and drag that. Mine's perhaps just a little bit big, but close enough for our purposes. Again, remember that Finale is attaching the articulation sign to a note head, so I'm trying to put it here where I want it, but it's not attaching it to a note head. So if I put the cursor right over the note head, double click, and it's allowing me to put in the articulation shape. We're going to do it again here. And here. I just noticed I don't have a double bar line at the end. I'm going to hit my measure tool, double click my measure. I want a final double bar line. There it is. Okay, so we did pretty good there. We still have some spacing issues. We can use our stem tool again and give us some more room. I wanted to show you some things that I learned. There's a really good explanation on the Lyrics tool arrows. This is from Tom Rudolph at Berkeley Online. It's a blog that he typed up that talks about what each arrow in the Lyrics tool box controls. So if you click on the Lyrics tool, there's a box that has several arrows in it. So if you can click and drag these arrow boxes, the furthest to the left sets the baseline for the lyrics. So you can adjust that one. As you drag it, the other ones move with it. The second triangle is only for the selected staff only. The third triangle sets the baseline for the system only. And the fourth triangle sets the baseline for the next syllable. So if I go to verse 1 and I drag this, it will let me find position where I want that first verse. Then I can go to verse 2, and find position where I want verse 2. Then I can go to verse 3 and I can find position where I want verse 3. And same with verse 4. Well, my verse 3 needs a little help here. Wrong way. Not gonna lie, these arrows are kind of finicky at times. Okay, that way I can make sure that I'm avoiding those collisions. I'm still not happy with that collision that has been happening and these collisions that are happening. And as a result, my text boxes need to be realigned. So there you go. My intro brackets, they could have been a little bit smaller, I'm not going to lie. But other than that, I'm fairly happy with the way my layout works. Some of you I know are currently working for the churches, so I thought this would be a good project to help you out, and some of you may work for a church one day. So it's good to know. There's one other thing I want to do real quick. For some reason my measure number is showing up in measure 3. Measure, edit measure number regions. I'm going to delete this. Hit OK. And my measure numbers are gone. Real quick, some of my systems on my original seem to be a little bit closer. I'm going to hit the page layout tool. I'm going to hold command button, click and hold, and that will allow me to drag this staff independently of the others. Okay, to get them spaced more evenly, I'm going to hold down the command button. I'm going to click in the middle of this staff and drag it right where I want it. And I'm going to do the same for the third system here. Drag it up a little bit. That's a nice little page layout option to know about. If I don't hold down command and I click and drag, it will move both staves and not each stave independently. And then of course I need to adjust my text boxes after doing that. So I hope this was a fun project for you, or is a fun project for you, and I can't wait to see what you turn in.